Hello and welcome to another episode of Seven Story Podcast. Here we have Matthew John Meagher, who is another author of the novel Irishtown, which I believe won an award, right?
Uh,
I mean, hey, we have an
Humbly
award-winning
speaking,
author here, you know?
yeah, humbly speaking, yeah, it's one of few. Yep. And it's I'm just gonna say it. I don't care because everyone pronounces it wrong. But my name is actually Mahar.
Mahar, okay, got
Yeah,
you.
and I'm a professor too, and kids always get it wrong. So I'm just letting you know, like it looks like Meagher.
Right,
So you're totally like I'm just whatever. But yeah, I won some awards.
all right.
It won the Killer Nashville Silver Falchion International Award. And reader, like it won some national and state awards. Yeah.
Okay, nice, nice.
Mm-hmm.
Well, me, I'm kind of a, stickler for pronouncing people's names, right? So if it's Mahar, then I will refer to you as Matthew John Mahar. So,
Appreciate it.
people butcher my name too, so that's why I understand,
Yeah, yeah, I can see that. I can see that.
oh man. But anyway, uh so just tell us a little bit about yourself, what do you like to do outside of writing? What's a day in a life like for you?
Okay. Well, I've had a few mentors in my writing, fortunately, but one of them really stuck hard with writing early in the morning. Apparently, your brain is most creative when you first wake up, so I try my best to write from about 5 to 7. Take a break, do something similar to that. But then I also am a professor. So I teach from 8 to 11 on Tuesdays and Thursdays, women's lit and literature. So I kind of like double dip. But I have a new novel coming out. So I also write short stories. But fun stuff outside. I mean, honestly, I'm a terrible golfer. Like
Yeah.
I'm a cliche. Like I'm a trope. Um, I think I'm a huge mental health advocate, and even though it's the most impossible game, just getting out of the house and getting those 4 hours of like out of the world really helps.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
and I'm fortunate, yeah, I just live near a golf course and I love hacking away, so that's great.
Kind
Yeah, but other
of
than that,
helps
I
with the weight.
snowboard. I live in Colorado,
Okay.
so I've taught in the mountains. I snowboard. You'll see. I mean, if you read the book, like there's a bunch of allusions to Colorado. So if you're from it, it's almost like South Park.
Right.
Have you ever seen South Park? Well,
Yeah, I've seen a few episodes.
they do a lot of allusions to small town Colorado stuff. And in this book, if you're from Colorado, you would definitely get the allusions for sure. But it's a great book. And other than that, man, I'm just a Coloradoan. Snow and terrible golf in the summer.
I
Yeah.
mean, it probably helps with like some of the anger, like if you're, swinging away at the golf, just,
Oh
huh,
yeah. Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
It does. And with teaching, that's good. Being able to manage anger.
Oh man, like is that 8 to 11th grade or like in
No,
college?
I teach advanced. See, this is the cool thing. I
Right,
teach advanced high schoolers who have already basically graduated high school, and
right.
then I teach them their college courses that transfer.
Oh, okay, I got you,
So they're
got you.
really, really smart 18-year-olds, just not mature.
Uh, yeah,
So
that's
like
that's a great
so I have
combination.
to like bridge the gap with texts that aren't like super adults, but more than like Judy Blume, stuff like that.
Right. Oh
But
man.
yeah, I
Oh
professorize for about 4 hours and then I write on the other days.
yeah. Okay, I got you. I got you.
Mhm.
Oh man, that's got to be a fun combination.
It's all right.
Teenagers.
I'd rather just write every day, but we all got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, I got you. I got you. Uh, I know this is gonna be like a tangent, but I just gotta say it. Has anyone ever told you that you sound like Bill Burr?
Yeah. And I mean, yes, and I'm bald. So I get that, and I get the Smashing Pumpkins lead singer for lookalikes.
Oh man.
Yeah, so like No, but I totally get it. And whenever I hear like I'll listen to this and I'll be like, I hate my voice, but like sometimes I'll teach and you can like I boom with this Bill Burr voice. It's funny.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I
I
mean, yeah,
totally.
at least you can make it funny,
Oh
keep them
yeah.
entertained.
I mean, we're all similar. I'm
Right.
glad that I'm similar to him as opposed to other people. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
All right.
I think he's
So,
hilarious. So
oh yeah, definitely. He's
yeah.
one of my favorite stand-up comedians.
Oh, for sure.
Uh, since like, why do I do this? Is like I was like that first
Oh
special.
yeah. For
Where
sure.
you're talking about,
Not the best comedian for women's lit,
right.
but we all, it's good to get a different change of pace. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I got you. I got you.
Yeah.
All right. So, what inspired your first novel? Like, what was the thing that got you into writing that in the first place?
It was more of a societal thing that I grew up in. I grew
Right.
up in a wealthy neighborhood, in
Oh, nice.
a well-to-do neighborhood. My family was working class. They were teachers for the, I guess you could say, well-to-do neighborhood. And then there's a giant dam, like a water dam that separates that neighborhood from a lower economic neighborhood. So, and then I went to high school to play baseball for the lower economic neighborhood high school, and I started just seeing observational things of like just contrast in the way that they view life.
Right.
And I was also an elementary teacher teaching kids in the inner city, and then I've also taught kids who are highly affluent, and I observed that they both actually in a strange way connect because there are absent parents in rich neighborhoods and there are absent parents in poor neighborhoods. And the
Mm-hmm.
truth is I wanted to make a point in that absent parents aren't always on the lower economic side. So that was one thing. I was a fifth grade teacher for 10 years. I saw that most of and I'm dealing with the situation right now. A lot of my students were advanced readers, and they were coming from socioeconomic status where they were not interested in the content like The Great Gatsby. Like, I'm sorry, dude. Like, my student who's babysitting his 3 daughters doesn't want to read about the flappers in the 40s.
Right.
So, or the 20s, whatever. So I decided, I was like, I can write a book that bridges the gap between the Hunger Games and the Gatsby that is also content related to this modern generation, but also has some literary merit. I think there's it's just accessible for like a 5th grade reader, but the content is more grittier, like adults. Yeah.
Oh,
So it's
okay.
accessible for every reader. My master's thesis was to write for reluctant readers. So
Nice. Nice. I mean,
basically I came up with this idea just to like, I think there's a huge, sorry if I'm ranting, but
no worries.
there's a huge demographic of readers that want to read, are either intimidated by like big books and they're like, I don't like big books, or there's not enough like interest out there. I mean, there's just a huge demographic of reluctant readers who fall under certain stereotypes, who you're just like, I studied it, like subconscious, psychologically, reluctant readers like, grit, flaws, easy reading, not like easy reading, but pace reading more along like than adult
Yeah.
literature, like literature fiction where you're learning about someone's divorce for 40 pages. I don't know.
Right.
But like, so that's where I was really motivated, was to write like young adult, new adult fiction that's accessible for everyone. So like, what if I have an advanced reader in 5th grade who unfortunately is dealing with the conflicts of a young adult and his they would also be able to have a connection with the book and be able to read it as well as a 45-year-old or a 50-year-old.
Okay. I got
Yeah.
you.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Awesome. So this next question, so like, how did you come up with the characters or the main people that are gonna act out these social observations? Like, were they, pulled from people in real life, or were they, did they require a bit of imagination to kind of like make the story what you wanted to make it? Like, was it spontaneous or meticulously planned?
I'm a pantser writer. You know what a pantser is?
Same here, man.
Yeah, you know what's up. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I mean, I guess I plan in my head, but I'm mostly a pantser writer. The best way I can explain the way I do it is be a director. Like, think you're a director and you're writing what they're seeing.
Yeah.
Like, the only way I can explain is in the beginning of my novel, I was just telling too much. I was like, oh, Jester has a shot glass. Jester has this, and this. And then I had a mentor who was like, you want to be the director, not write a screenplay, but write a movie. So, for example, you want the reader to visualize the sun beaming through the window in the morning. So you're not saying it's morning, but the type of sunlight coming in through it will tell
Yeah.
the reader that they're visualizing it's a morning hue. So,
Right.
like, I always picture I'm the director and I'm like, okay, so in this scene, what do I want my reader to see and smell and hear? I want them to smell cinnamon. I want them to see red. You know, I can control tone and stuff and then symbolism
Yeah.
with those. But really, like, when I'm thinking of characters, I stick around 4 to 5, and they're generally, their names are pretty sick, like Christmas Day, Irish, like, you know, like I choose cooler names, I guess you could say, more hip,
Right.
unused names. But really, what I do is I create fictional events, a plot, and then I think of someone I'm closely related to or closely to enough that I'll know how they react to the events. So, for
Right.
example, if I have a shy friend and in the book, the character is dealing with like giving a speech, the mannerisms of my shy friend I would give to the character who's having a tough time giving the speech.
Okay, I got you. I
So,
got
like, if I have a jock or a brute who lifts all the time and has a tough life at home, I've observed that, I would then connect that to a character who is also having a tough time at home. So
you.
that the reader, it creates more of a realistic tone to the book, but it also is like the reader, you know, I don't know, it just helps. And then I've had readers and fans tell me that that like one of the best ways to do it is always think of the 5 senses. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's such a simple way of writing, but I
Yeah.
always throw in like one paragraph that's like, the butter oozes from the bread, you know, like, so you can almost taste the milky cinnamon butter. Like,
Yeah.
just a few of those. Like, I'm not talking about 18,000 pages of super imagery, but just a
Yeah.
little of like sense paragraphs really draw the reader into connecting to the characters and how they're
Yeah, I
reacting.
got you.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, like just personally, I've learned like, like I grew up in English literature, so like English
Yeah.
major in college, all that. Like so I know what's up from Shakespeare
Oh,
to Mary
me.
Shelley to,
Yeah.
all that. Like
So
know
I'm
what's up.
teaching archetypes right now, so you know that shit or that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, so like the hero's journey, like all
Oh
that.
my god, yeah.
So, like, what I like to do in writing is I like to just focus on one aspect. I focus on imagery, and when it comes to the character, I focus more on personality. Like, how does the
Right,
person
yeah.
act rather than like what they look like? The reader can imagine what they look like.
I like that.
The reader can put anybody in the role.
Yeah,
The
I like that.
characters, I like to keep it, amorphous. I might, allude to their eye color or
Yeah, I do
allude to
that.
their,
Yeah.
like, maybe their hair or something like that, just to give an indication. But I like to keep it,
Pretty general.
visualize the story and then, just, you know, focus on the characters' personalities and their traits.
Yep.
That way it gives an impression of a real person. And then I just go with the story like that.
Well, I like the way I do that too. And this is just straight up like that I had to
Yeah.
deal with in college too. Like, being a Caucasian writer, what you just is that's how we write, different skin
Yeah.
tones. Is
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like I can't go in there and just be like, and then his skin was like, I have to use personality. I have to use things from the scene. I just don't want to be like tropey.
Right.
I don't think skin tone defines someone. So why would I,
Right.
but I mean, in my new book that comes out in May, maybe one person who's like a fly on white paint. That's how I describe it. She's the only one in a school of Cherry Creek type people. So, or my
Right.
neighborhood type people. So you're like, okay, that's a comment on how alone you would feel if you were a minority and full of, like, so there is
Yeah,
some
I got
comments
you.
on that, but really I keep my characters general too. I want you to visualize them as well. So I'm on the same page. I
Yeah,
just, sometimes I have to throw in, the only times I throw in unique characteristics are like one thing that the reader can visualize. So like a scar across the eye or a tattoo on the
yeah,
neck or red hair, like something that just sticks.
yeah,
But other than that, I don't spend at all the rest of the novel. Like
yeah. Just
as
yeah,
the
definitely.
events and their dialogue develop, you don't really need to
Yeah,
go into what they're wearing. So,
yeah. That's
you know.
true. Like, and I also read like Stephen King's own writing, so I got a lot of that from
Dude,
his.
I like live off that book. I live off that book and The Emotional Craft of Fiction by Donald Moss. Have you ever read that?
I don't. Oh yeah, actually, I did. I did.
Dude,
I read that one too. Yeah.
I read all of Stephen King stuff, and I got the one thing I got out of that book. And if there are writers out there, don't use ly words. Do not use adverbs. Try to write a
Right.
sentence without using an adverb. It's really hard, but it makes your writing significantly better.
Oh
And the
yeah.
way I teach it to my kids is if a dog barks loudly, loudly means something different to me than loudly would mean to you.
Right.
So what a writer wants to do, if they want a specific volume, they have to be more. They have to use more imagery than using just loudly. So, for example, you would
I
say
got
the
you. So like,
dog shouted a bark at me. So it's a
right.
loud bark instead of just saying loudly.
Yeah, like for an example, you would say instead of say, "Oh, the dog barked loudly," you would say, "The dog's bark reverberated throughout the basement and startled my uncle, who was fast
Boom.
asleep."
Yeah.
Something like that. Like you would indicate, like, "Oh, that dog barked loud as shit."
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, you get it. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right. So, what's the most difficult thing about being a writer, in your opinion?
Patience. Dude, like when I've written for like 6 years and I want to be Stephen King right now. I think every writer, when I first came out with my first book, I was like, $1 million, never gonna have to work again. And I'm pretty sure most people think that's how it goes. It
Nah,
may. Like, I don't know. I mean, I guess that girl who wrote
it
the
could,
Crawdads.
but like.
And if they do, good to you. Like, but patience is hard. Finding your own voice, like knowing what genres, what audience you can write for, which gives you more possibilities to get published by certain publishers. That's really hard. Like, I'm a new adult, grittier YA, and I'm not going to go to like a soft YA publisher, So
Right.
once you start to find your voice, that's hard. Patience and finding your avenue. Don't fall under the cliches of the publishing industry. I think that's really hard. I think the first 3 years I did the traditional route, like just went through fish piles or slush piles for agents, and it doesn't make you feel good.
Right.
Getting a small short story in a meaningless magazine that you can put on
Right.
your resume, not meaningless, but a literary magazine you can put on your resume, you can put on your bio, like work on a short little fiction and get it published. You don't have to publish an award-winning national mind-breaking novel in your first one. I
Right.
can tell you right now, Irishtown's a success, I guess, meritly. I
Right.
mean, I've done all right money-wise, but like the next one, because I'm a better writer and I have been through things and I'm
Yeah.
just, like the next one is like Irishtown, but 10 times better.
Nice.
So
Okay.
it's like patience, wait, work on your craft. People like make sure your idea your idea is unique. There's
Mhm.
no one else that's come up with it. Make sure, take the time, get people to read it, that it comes off perfect. And then it
Right.
will be unique to the world. I mean, I had to
Got
rewrite this damn thing like 20 times. It was awful.
Ah. Oh, man.
Yeah, I mean, that's the life, I mean, I
Yeah.
think it's fortunate that I'm a little more youthful. I have a little more time, but like, really, it's patience. It's patience for sure. And luck.
Uh,
I mean, come on. You know, the hardest thing about being the writer is you're writing to a void and hoping. You know, it's hope.
Yeah.
You're not void, but like you're just typing and you're like, I hope this works. I hope this works. I hope this works. You
Right.
know,
Right.
and then we'll see it happen. So it's also kind of like the unknown is hard as well. You know,
Okay.
I think that's always kind of an in general hardness for being a human, but definitely a
Right.
writer for sure.
Oh yeah. I don't know. I
Oh, and
mean,
also, can I just say something?
yeah.
First time I came out or my stuff was read, total insecure. Like I was insecure, mad. Like I hate when people read. Like I hated when people read my writing. That is a
Ah.
really hard part. Is getting comfortable in your own skin to have people like read your stuff
Oh yeah.
and make an opinion on it, and not just write. You know, like
I just don't
take
like when
the
people read
risk,
it right in
even
front
though
of
like
me.
there may be a troll out there that hates it. Take the risk. Risk
Oh
taking is
yeah.
also hard. There are millions of things that make writing hard, but
Oh
I would
yeah.
say risk taking, patience, and finding your own voice.
Right.
Yeah.
I would say like I just don't like when people read it right in front of me. You know, I was like,
Oh yeah, I hate that.
oh
Like when
yeah.
you give them your novel and they like start reading the back, and then they read
It's
the first
like
page, and you're like, "What are you doing?"
right.
Like, no, I'm gonna go cry in a corner for 2 hours. That's what I'm gonna go do. I'm gonna go be like, go away. No, I'm just joking. Like, totally get it. It's just something that's hard though. That is the hard thing about being a writer when you're first starting is
I
being
got
open to critique because you
you.
want to
Yeah.
be perfect right away.
Right.
Well, I do. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe some
Right.
I think it's a fallacy that some writers are like, I love getting critiqued. No. I want to be perfect right away and no one critiques it. That's the goal. But it never happens. So,
Right.
you know.
So okay.
Sorry,
So
I can just rant about writing all day.
oh,
So
no worries. No worries. It's good screen time. So, what's one thing about writing that drives you up the wall? Like, so when you're writing a story, you're just like, you just need to go to the golf course and swing for a few minutes before coming back to it.
um I'm trying to think. Scenes it's generally like a pivotal scene in the novel that involves multiple characters that have been developed with
Mm.
different dialogue and different traits. So like basically like there's a chapter in Irish Town where the main character goes to an AA scene and it's told from so it's basically like the unreliable narrator commenting on Irish who is also doing like brutish traits, and then a girl comes in and she's also a character who's different, and you have to like build the tone and the tension between all characters. I mean, it's hard to do a multiple character scene, I guess, and you want it to come out well, and it usually doesn't, and that's when I go miss putts, you know. But other than that,
So,
like it's really like multiple character scenes, but I actually don't like I don't get really frustrated with writing. I love it. So, you know,
right.
if it's not great, I'll work on it, you know.
Got you. Got you. I don't know. I mean, like, I don't know. I never really thought about like multi-character scenes because, like, I don't know. Like over the past couple of years, like I've really gotten into like relationship dynamics and things of that nature. So, like, I have a better understanding of like people and how they interact with each other.
Yeah.
Plus, I just observe it in life. So, if I got to a multi-character scene, depending on the context of like where they're at and what they're doing, then I could kind of decipher the tone right then and there. Like if they're in the middle of a war, you
Yeah.
already know everybody's going to be highly alert, and then you just think about the commonalities, and then you just build it around that. One character might say something, another one might say something totally different, and then there might be one that comes in the middle and mediates, and then you just kind of like just build
Yeah.
it off and keep going.
And I find that not it's just difficult because
Right.
you have to put like three different plot stories in one scene. It's like that's how I think. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe other people like do, but as a pantster,
Yeah.
You know, when you're just like la 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 la, 18 million characters in one pivotal scene, it gets a little challenging.
Oh
But
yeah, that's cool.
no, I mean, yeah, I guess you would say creating the right emotion for the audience would be another challenge.
Right.
I had a really hard time creating tension,
Mm.
like without telling.
Mm.
And I had a really great novel in Irish Town. It just wasn't like I didn't have a page turning device. You know, it was kind of
Right.
just narrative. There was no tension. Um, and then honestly, so that's hard. Is like holding in the emotion you want the reader to feel in a scene.
Mm-hmm.
So tension's really hard to convey, I guess you could say.
Right.
I
No,
don't know.
I feel you on that.
I
I
just
feel you.
lost train of thought. Sorry, but
Yeah.
yeah, that's a really hard thing. It's just keeping the emotion, like controlling the emotions you want the reader to feel,
Okay.
and creating tension usually doesn't involve describing the scene. It's more of like one word sentences. And now, if you are narrating tension and you want the reader to actually read fast, as like if you're doing a racing scene, you would want to start long and then literally wax poetic, and shorten your sentences to one word. So like
Yeah.
that's
Yep.
hard when you know when to do wax poetry too.
Oh
Like
yeah.
what you want the reader to be like, oh, this is kind of cool. So like when I write down, down, down multiple times, I'll actually write, I went down, down, down. So I'll walk, like knowing when to put everything about writing is hard. That's all I'm going to say. I could go into like 8 million things, but yeah, I would say, but yeah, just voice, tone, everything. Yeah, other than that.
Okay. All right. So we have about 3 minutes left. So I want to take that time to, just let you take the floor in promoting your work and, just telling people where they can find you. And let's do what we can in getting you to that Stephen King status, huh?
I appreciate it.
Yeah, go take it away.
Go away. Oh, okay. Hello. How are you? Fellow readers out there, I am Matthew John Meagher. I wrote Irish Town. Usually it has stickers and stuff on it. This is just the original copy that I have. It did win some awards. Humble brag. But the truth is it came out like 4 years ago. I'm a type of writer that really tries to work on coming out with pieces that, are really worked on when it comes to craft. So the first book I did very well, but my next book comes out in the spring, May 24th, actually. It's going to be published under my publisher. Like I own the publisher. Sorry, I didn't mention that little. So I own the publisher. I write for the publisher. It's called Marsman Limited. So I'm just saying, like, this is the next premiere novel of the publisher. It's called Sweet Evil. It is all of my characters in Irish Town. It's their kids.
Okay.
And I write all my books as standalones. So you don't actually have readers out there. You don't have to have read Irish Town to read the next one, Sweet Evil. They all are standalones. But if you want to get more into the world of Powder Valley and the characters, you could read all three if you want. But other than that, like I also write short stories. You can find my stuff in my reviews and everything on Matthew J or my name Meagher.com. MatthewJMeagher.com. And everything's on there. You can buy links and stuff. The truth is, we're now developing a publishing site, so you can just go to the publisher site and buy all the material. But right now, we're just going to my site, which is MatthewJMeagher.com. I also have a lot of followers. I mean, I have a following. I don't have a lot of followers, but you can find me on Instagram, same thing, name. You can find me on TikTok. I was on X. Well, I'm on X. I just, And then
Right.
I'm on Threads. So I'm on all the device. I'm on all the social medias. If you want to watch my little like snippets, if you've seen them, follow me on Instagram. I do a little snippet for upcoming books and writing. But I'm honestly just a good follow, guys. Like if you ever want to see the process of a writer, like I post, hey guys, I'm getting published by this teeny little magazine. Hey guys, I won an award today. Like I actually timeline a little bit for other writers how you can succeed, and you don't necessarily need to go like to Penguin Publishing and get a book published. Like you can still succeed as a writer without having to go traditional. So I also do that. So I'm a good follow, not necessarily. I mean, you can buy the book. I would prefer you do, but if you just want to follow a writer, I'm also, I believe one of the people to follow.
Alrighty.
Mm-hmm.
And that will be a wrap, ladies and gentlemen. We have had Matthew John Meagher
Thank
today,
you.
and it was glad that you came and interviewed with me. And
Yeah.
record, I also own a publishing company, so two owners, rubbing elbows. Hey, but anyway, thank you to the 1, 2, 3 people that were here. At some point, we love you, and see you on the flip side. Peace.
Thank you.